Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's Woolcast. We've so much to get through this week. It's been a crazy week. We've got the best of the best with us this week. I've got Rich making a long overdue appearance on the Woolcast. Rich, I'm going to just bring you in for a quick second. How the hell have you been?
Not bad at all. Busy as always with the Getting to Know You series, which I'm sure everybody hopefully is enjoying. With this month being Mr. Pierce, who we could do with making a return to the Twitter sphere, I think, because we could do with him wrapping up a few rumours and bits and pieces that are going down. But yeah, no, it's been good.
Excellent. Delighted to have you back on, Rich. It's been far too long.
Cheers, pal.
Also this week we've got Grizz, Jonathan, and the ever-reliable Mr. Ben Webb. Guys, we finished up last week after the first half of the season, so we should probably get straight back into it and review the second half of the season. January was an extremely busy month, so we haven't really got time to go through every single game, but we'll just pick out the big ones. And what bigger game than the game at Old Trafford? Does anybody have any major memories of this game or anything they want to bring up in the game?
You mean other than Zlatan scoring literally the late equaliser?
84th minute. Oh, God, don't remind me, Rich.
Just to break your hearts when we're 1-0. And I thought a deserved 1-0 up as well. I thought we played really well in the game. But yeah, that was the killer blow for me. I think it kind of set the tone for the way things were going that month. But yeah, we were massively unfortunate, I think.
The ever-reliable James Milner opened the scoring with a penalty for the Reds. As you said, we started off really well. I thought we were in command at the start of the game, and just typical of the horrible, horrible Mourinho side that they just dragged their way back into it, and that lanky git scored the equaliser. Jonathan, January was a bit of a poor month for you, travelling to games. What did you make of this one?
This one was kind of mixed emotions. We couldn't gone into the game in very poor form, but I'd say for 60, 70 minutes we totally bossed the game. After we got the pen, I think we kind of sat a bit deep, and then they got their poxy goal, which was, of course, offside. We won't go there. My abiding memory of the game, though, is Genie straight through and goal right at the end. And I had made a bet with my mate before the week of the game that we were going to win 2-1. So I thought, this is it. I was nearly had my celebration planned, and Genie straight through and he sidefooted straight at De Gea. But yeah, it was a really frustrating game because they just, typical Mourinho, they just ground a win out, or a result out, and we deserved all 3 points, I thought, on the day.
Yeah, I think so, and I don't want to spend too long on Man United because we covered a lot of them on the last pod, so we'll move straight along. And Grizz, I'm going to bring you straight in on this one. We're going to go to Southampton now in the second leg of the EFL Cup semi-final. We went into this game with high hopes, my friend. We thought 1-0 down after the first leg. We thought that this was it. We were going to bring them back to Anfield. We were going to rattle them 3 or 4-0, and that was it. We were through to the final, but sadly that wasn't to be the case.
It wasn't, was it? Everything was in place. I remember the build-up. I remember Klopp in the build-up, sort of in the press conferences as well, sort of really rallying the troops as he does. The crowd was supposedly going to be up for it. You know, this was the perfect sort of the typical Liverpool comeback in the second leg, you know, with the home leg at Anfield, the crowd roaring us on. Only, you know, everyone was expecting like a fast, energetic, high-tempo start. It was totally the opposite. It was absolutely totally the opposite. We had, I don't think, if I remember correctly, which is very rare, I can't remember having too many clear-cut chances in the whole 90 minutes, did we? I mean, I don't remember their goalkeeper sort of making any, apart from the penalty sort of, you know, scenario. But go on, Jonathan. You was going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just at that game, and for me, what summed up that game was just showing how much Sturridge had declined. He missed a couple of sitters there in the second half, and then we that one, the ricochet. I think it was Chan took a ricochet and it flicked up in the air, and I won't lie, I think everyone on the ground thought it was in.
Yeah, I mean, it just lacked sharpness, didn't he? He wasn't, you know, at that stage, I think we were all sort of fairly 90% adamant that, you know, Sturridge is gone. You know, both physically and sort of you know, mentally as well. There was no spark to his game. It was not only Sturridge. There was just despondency in the ground. There was no atmosphere. We were dead. I think, you know, that was the start of a really, really bad month, wasn't it? and Southampton being our nemesis, our recent nemesis, aren't they? We didn't even look like scoring, to be honest with you. We got a glimmer of hope. We got a glimmer of hope with the sort of the chances at the end. We thought, okay, if we take this into extra time, possibly, but nah, it was a really drab affair. I remember.
And then Shane Long just talk about a kicking stones at the end where he broke through and just smashed it in. There was a huge Southampton crowd there as well. They took up pretty much the whole Annie Road and they just all went nuts. It was just a horrible feeling. I was so looking for. I think everyone had their plans nearly ready to go to Wembley. There was so much hype before the game, but just wasn't to be.
Rich, you want to come back in, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I was at the game. I remember doing we did the bus greet outside the pub and everything, like you say, at the beginning of the game seemed to be in place. As I seem to remember, the first half was pretty boring anyway. I think Loris Karius was in goal for this one. And he made a good save in the first half. And then there was another one where I think Davis blazed over. But I mean, in that second half, there was the Sturridge wasted chances. But don't forget as well, Emre Can had the shot off the line that literally Fraser Forster scrambled off. I think Divock went down under a challenge from Jack Stevens as well. So I certainly think there was quite a few things. It was a poor performance by us. I don't think in any way, shape or form we deserved to win it. But I think it was unfortunate. The goal was in injury time, wasn't it? Into injury time, Shane Long?
It was quite close to injury time if it wasn't, yeah. I just remember the crowd emptying.
Yeah, it is. 1 minute into injury time, Shane Long. So, I think it's just one of those things. I remember all the Southampton fans having their plastic flags a la Chelsea down in that end as well. But I don't think we deserved to win it. But I think there was certainly moments in there that had one of those gone our way. I think if the ball hadn't been scrambled away from Chan, I think it could have been a different kettle of fish. But I did think the crowd was flat that night.
You've segued nicely, Rich, for me into the last game I want to bring up in January, and that is Chelsea. And Ben, we haven't been ignoring you, buddy. I've been saving this one for you. What's your memories of this game? I mean, the first thing I want to bring up was probably the last thing I slaughtered Mignolet on, and that was the David Luiz free kick.
Oh, so fucking annoying, wasn't it? It just caught him off guard, didn't he? But in fairness, he should have been ready for that free kick, and it was quite annoying because it was one of them games we could have perhaps done the double over Chelsea if it weren't for that, because we did contain them fairly. To be fair, considering how bad that month was, it was a good end to a bad month, to be honest, wasn't it?
It was. To be fair, it was an amazing strike. I mean, not taken away from the strike by Luiz, it was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, no, you can't take that away from it. It was decent. Even if Mignolet was ready, it was a decent strike. But there was just the annoying thing of he's organising the wall and standing there waving his arms about, and it just shouldn't have counted. But there we go, it's one of them.
Couple more things in that game. Just want to bring up, and I suppose the Wijnaldum equaliser is probably the first thing. What's your memories of that, Ben?
Do you know what? I'm struggling to remember it. I'm getting muddled up with the other Chelsea game, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same myself. When I think of Wijnaldum, all I can see is him rising for a header.
It was a close range. It was a close range header, if I remember rightly. Isn't the ball looped in?
The ball went down the left wing. I think Millie got his head on it and directed it across, and then Genie came tearing and nodded it home.
Another assist for Jimmy Milner.
Yeah, I do remember it now. I keep getting muddled up with that one and the because it's on the 31st of January, so I keep thinking the 31st of December when he done the good header against City, jumped up like a salmon. So I keep getting muddled up with that one, but yeah, no, Genie Wijnaldum he stepped up in a lot of big games and scored some big goals for us. So I'm quite hopeful for him, to be honest. He's got the right sort of attitude to step up in big games and keep us in it. City, what was it? I've just gone blank. I can't think of half the games.
There was one more thing in that game, and Rich, I've already said to Ben that I slaughtered Mignolet for the goal that he conceded, but in the 78th
minute... Save of Costa's pen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just seen that. Just looking it up and I remembered.
Yeah, no, it was a good save, actually, really good save. Dived low and to his right to save it from the spot kick. I think the other thing to remember as well is this is the game where Bobby Firmino wasted a couple of chances as well. I think he shoots high over an open goal. And then there's another one where he heads it straight at Courtois when in the closing seconds when either side and it's in the back of the net and it's game over and we're running away 2-1. Yeah, it's a typical clash between us and Chelsea, and I think it's one of those games where you kind of look at these and you turn around and say, do you know what? If we get a draw in, that'll be fine. If we win it, it's a bonus.
I was just going to say because if this was sandwiched, the Southampton game was sandwiched in between the United and Chelsea games. Are we saying because our performance levels against Chelsea and the United game were very, very high. So, I mean, again, this game they were flying. They were absolutely flying. They were expected to I think they went into the game near enough favourites. And to be honest with you, I wasn't too fussed about the performance. We did very well. I mean, yes, Mignolet got caught off guard. But as you guys say, generally, we put in a really good, and we as we say, generally, in that season, the season just gone, we did actually play very well against these big teams. So I wasn't too fussed about the performance. Just the result at the end, could have been lovely 3 points, but no, we take the point.
It wasn't quite a sandwich, Grizz. It was so we had Plymouth Argyle in the FA Cup at home, which we drew, so we ended up with a replay. So then we went to Southampton, then we had United, then we had to go back down to Plymouth. Then we had a game at home against Swansea. Then we had Southampton. Then we had Wolves, and then we had Chelsea. But this was the period where literally every 2-3 days.
What can you remember?
We were playing a game.
Can you blame us for forgetting that batch of matches? My God!
I have to say, lads, I wasn't looking forward to this part of the review at all.
But it's one of those things. All good. It's one of those things. We'd got no Mane at this point either, which impacted us, I genuinely think. But when you think, so we played Plymouth on the 8th, we then played Southampton on the 11th, we then played United on the 15th, we then played Plymouth on the 18th, we then played Swansea on the 21st, we played Southampton on the 25th, we then played Wolves on the 28th, and then we played Chelsea on the 31st.
That sounds ridiculous when you read it out like
that. It's just absolutely mental.
And then there was a huge break of games. Sorry, Ben. There was a huge break of games. After that, then we went from a glut of fixtures to not playing for ages.
And then we had three all of February.
Yeah, just moving into February. You brought up Mane. Rich's first game back was a 2-0 loss away to Hull City after the African Cup of Nations. Not really much to say about that game, to be honest, so we'll move on to the Spurs game.
Nice move.
That's where Mane really showed his class. Who wants to come in on this one?
I will. So this was Mane in the 16th and 18th, wasn't it? 2 quick fire goals. He just lifted the gloom. I think it was a stunning performance, and I think it was one of those where, if I remember rightly, I think we just absolutely came out at Spurs, and it was just one of those where we weren't. Sometimes we come out in these games and we take a little while to get going, and the pressing isn't there and everything else. It just felt like one of those games where we absolutely went at them. I'm trying to think what it was. So the first goal was he ran onto a Wijnaldum pass.
Yeah, he got through on goal, didn't he? Like lightning.
Yeah, was it Ben Davies he held off?
Yeah,
rattled it in.
Absolutely terrorised.
We targeted Ben Davies in this game. To be fair,
absolutely terrorised Ben Davies. When we do, when you get these questions sort of on Twitter, some people ask you, what was your favourite, not favourite, but what was the best performance in your opinion, etc., etc. I actually put that down as, for me, the best performance of the season because of who we were playing, basically.
It's got to be up there.
We were playing Spurs, who were in brilliant form, right? Everybody's telling us that they're the best defence, they got the best coach, they got the best midfield with Wanyama and Dembele, Harry Kane flying. I really, really don't remember Harry Kane getting a kick in that game or any of the Spurs. And as Rich says, from the start, we were at them. It was the old frenetic, high tempo start that we always expect at Anfield. We just literally went for their throats, and Mane was like a man possessed in that game. I remember quite clearly. He absolutely terrorized poor Ben Davies. And Ben Davies is a decent player. Don't get me wrong. Ben Davies ain't no ordinary fullback. He's a very good player. But I mean, some people, I don't know what it is. Some people just don't like giving the glory to their own team, being Liverpool fans. Some people have actually said, Pochettino played into our hands. Southampton played this high line, But But hey, we were there to finish it off. We were there to take advantage of, any tactical flaws from their side.
And they weren't like, it's not like they was losing regularly and getting caught out with the same tactics, was it? No one else was doing that to them.
Of course, yeah. I mean, a lot of people say that, they played into our hands. Well, why didn't anyone else play like that against them?
But they got their best defense in the league, so why would that matter?
Spurs had 7 shots, 2 shots on target, 3 corners.
I only remember Son's.
Amazing stats, Rich. Amazing stats, that.
We had 17 shots, 9 on target and 10 corners.
Jeez. Mane probably had about 5 in the first 20 minutes. He could have had a hat-trick.
Well, the Mane second goal was a combination. I think there was several shots that went in. I think it was Hugo Lloris saves from Lallana and then from Bobby Firmino and then he
loads of little volleys, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like ping pong. It was like ping pong in the area. Yeah, exactly.
And then Mane just belted it, didn't he?
I think Hendo. I think that was one of his last games, maybe before he got injured, if I remember rightly. And I remember him having a brilliant game as well in that game. And again, I don't know if anyone's got the team lineups from that game, but please feel free to step in if I'm wrong. But I think it was Matip and Lovren again, our first choice centre-back pairing that totally,
It was Mignolet in goal with Klein, Matip, Lucas, who was substituted for Clavan on the 82nd minute with Milner.
It was Lucas.
And it was Lallana, Henderson.
Well, there you go, Craig. I just wanted to sort of just make you feel like a bit better.
One of our best performances with Lucas in.
Of course.
That was the night he came out. Somebody, I think it might have been from one of the big. It was someone from one of the big Liverpool websites, and they had said previously, "God, I hope to God." His tweet was something along the lines, "I hope to God, Lucas isn't playing tonight against." It
was Mr. Joseph Muscat.
We don't like giving people publicity for their stupidity, Grizz.
That's why I said remain unnamed.
Two other quick points on this. The big stat from this game was that 50% of all of our attacks came down the right-hand side in that game.
That's what we discussed earlier, isn't it? Targeting Davis.
Absolutely targeting him. And the other thing was that this was the game this was our first win because we hadn't won in our previous 5 games, and this put us back into the top 4.
I don't know. This month is doing my head in, lads. I'm getting upset just remembering January and February.
This month alone, I know we'll come on to the Leicester game. We might fly by it, but it summed up our season for me. Got smashed away at Hull, absolutely blitzed Spurs out of it at home, and then lost again to Leicester afterwards. It summed our season up in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
Let's just get to the Leicester game and get it over with. So they've been the whipping boys of the league. They weren't showing up. They weren't playing for Ranieri. They were getting beat left, right, and centre. And lo and behold, just before we rock up, Ranieri gets the bullet and they promote Craig Shakespeare to the job, and we rock up, and what happens?
We get smashed. Absolute cons. I was so annoyed at Leicester at the time.
and who scored the opener? But the fella that many believe are responsible for getting Ranieri thrown out of the club, Mr. Jamie.
Absolutely.
I'm an awful prick, Vardy.
Crowd of snakes.
Who also got man of the match.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what it is? That month, it was like, I think we were teams were breaking all sorts of records against us, like sort of teams that hadn't beaten us for X amount of years, team that hadn't scored for X amount of games, all kind of stats were sort of just being broken, and we were sort of everyone's sort of guinea pigs, weren't we? I hate to say it, but every team near the bottom just kind of wanted to play us. We were actually very, very easy to play against. And Leicester City done a number on us. I mean, however way we look at it, whether the change of manager or what it was, there was no way we should have played like how we played that day.
That's the day. That's the day Mane picked up his injury, isn't it? That's the day in the first couple of minutes he got a challenge.
Correct.
By that fucking horrible
smashed him
bastard.
Smashed him
I really
away.
don't like Jamie Vardy. I can't say enough how much I dislike Jamie Vardy.
Oh,
yeah,
you don't like him now? You don't like him now, Craig?
What's to like about him?
Well, what summed it up for me really was that, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was a stat going after that game that he ran more in that game against us than he had in any other game all season.
Indeed, indeed, he did.
That just shows how much of a fucking snake he is.
Well, as Gav's not here, I'll say it. Fuck Jamie Vardy. Carry on.
There was links at the start of this window, and they were absolute bullshit. But there was links linking us to Jamie Vardy, and I've never come out against the player. But I thought to myself, if we are looking to sign Jamie Vardy, I don't care. I'm coming out and saying I don't want them.
That's back to reminds me when we were linked with Lee Boyer, wasn't it? He's that type of a scumbag.
Absolutely, very similar. Yeah. At the time, I remember even Lee Boyer was a bloody good player when we were linked with him. But there was like a side of me and said, "Oh, really, Lee Boyer?" But yeah, Jamie Vardy. Now I can't see that happening.
Oh God!
Was all of you guys quite shocked when we lost that game? Because actually, after the Tottenham game and what we did to Leicester at Anfield, I actually thought, all right, they've got a new manager, so they're going to have a bit more fight, a bit more extra in them. But I was still convinced that we would have too much after that Tottenham performance. I was convinced because I thought, what? I mean, you've got 16 days rest between. Did we go away? Before that game? Was that one of them ones, like La Manga or something?
You're on one of our jolly ups, yeah.
It was La Manga, piss up. So I was convinced. I thought they're going to be full steam, but it was just one of them ones, wasn't it? They was perfect. Lucas got ripped to shreds if I remember right, playing a high line, but that's not his choice to play a high line, is it? And he's not a defender, so he was just trying to do a job.
Whatever we want to say about January and it being an extremely busy month, February was just really odd. As Rich said earlier on, we only had 3 games in the whole month, and it just wasn't a great month for us at all. Like, we should have been well prepared for these games. We should have been fighting fit. We should have been rested up. And it was just a really peculiar month.
We just had 90 minutes of awesome football against Tottenham. And then the rest was pretty much enjoying photos of the guys in the sun on push bikes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is also the game when Jurgen makes a weird substitution on 66 minutes and he pulls off Lallana for Origi and puts Moreno on for Mane. Both on the 66th minute.
Did Mane last that long?
Yeah, he was on until the 66th minute and then got substituted by Moreno.
I thought it was really early for some reason.
I'm sure he went off much earlier.
No, he took the tackle early, but he didn't go off.
No, I'm sure he did. He did go off.
I'm absolutely telling you, I've got it in front of me. He goes off on the 66th minute. There's a double substitution. It's Moreno on for Mane, Origi comes on for Lallana, and then Woodburn comes on in the 84th minute for Lucas.
I swear, every memory I have of that game, he was off the pitch so much earlier because he didn't even look up for it after that tackle. Now, obviously,
I think he was on one leg.
Damn, well, we haven't got Gav who remembers every minute of every game.
If it's there, it's there, and I'm wrong. Jesus.
Yeah, we got into the BBC Sport website.
Yeah, no, Gavs, we rely on Gav, to be honest with you.
We've got Rich, and I trust.
Yeah, no, but I believe Rich more than the website. But yeah, no, I do remember. I think Rich is right. I do remember him taking the knock and sort of just kind of carrying on with it. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, doesn't he take the knock? And then the comments were that he basically then started to be really ginger whenever there was a tackle, and he basically started not bailing out, but he wasn't as fully committed.
Yeah, I think
you're one of those where because I seem to remember the comparison. I seem to remember the comparison being made. So do you remember when we played Chelsea and not Chelsea, City, and Sterling got absolutely clattered in the opening minute?
Yeah.
And everyone turned around and said that set the tempo for that game because he got the crowd up and everyone was completely up for that game.
Yeah, it was role reversals this time.
And it was a role reversal where they clattered Mane, and from that point on, he was kind of like, hang on a minute, that's not how it was meant to go. And they just weren't interested. I mean, the stats on the game were ridiculous. We had 69% possession. We had 17 shots in total, 7 on target. They had 14 shots and 8 on target, and they only had 31% possession. We had 12 corners in that game and couldn't do anything with it.
Jeez.
Moving on swiftly.
Yes, let's get away from this because it's been.
Yeah, let's get out of February, shall we?
Yeah, we'll get into March. On March 4th, we played Arsenal. I was actually at that game. Really, really good win.
It was an awesome game.
We were all over Arsenal in the first half. Like, I know we went in 2-0 up, but we really were all over them. And I couldn't see any way back into the game for Arsenal at all. And I thought we were going to go on and win it handily, which I suppose we did in the end, but it wasn't that straightforward at all. Ben, Arsenal came back into the game after the break.
Yeah, no, they did. That Mane got the first goal, didn't he? And then I think it was Sanchez laid off Welbeck, didn't he? They caught us on the break, didn't they? And I think Sanchez just laid off Welbeck and he managed to squeeze it in.
I think
Welbeck in the second half.
Near post or something?
Firmino got the first one, if I remember correctly, and then Mane got the second.
Oh, sorry, he did. And then the second half, Welbeck got that one. And the main bit I remember about that game is, one, I was playing the life out of Arsenal and frightening the life out of them. And even though they did get back in it, I was never really concerned. And just the little cleverness right at the end there to think, we'll sit back and let you, because we're going to win it, sit back. And that little break we did with Lallana, doing a little clever turn.
I'll never forget that, Ben. Like, screaming at him, stop fucking turning and pass the damn ball. But
but he was off. Origi was off, wasn't he?
He was perfect. He knew what he was doing. He held up the ball perfectly, and it was a perfectly way to pass. And what a goal! And
Gini went out and bust his balls, didn't he, to get up the end of the pitch there and get that chance away.
That celebration was just immense. I remember here, I was late for a Bertie meal in town, and I said, "No, hold on another couple of minutes." And I hear all dressed up in my glad rags, jumping around the place like an idiot when Gini smashed that one in.
This is the game where Wenger doesn't play Sanchez.
That's right.
Start him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that when I seen the Arsenal team sheet, by the way. That was
he started Giroud, didn't he?
I think they had a very important game in the Champions League a few days later, and they'd just come off quite a hectic spell, and Sanchez was sort of, in what they call like the red zone, like sort of injury-wise, like most likely to pick up an injury type thing. So, but it was still a surprise. It was still a shock. And to be honest with you, I didn't actually ever doubt that we're going to smash Arsenal to bits. We always do. They're kind of just, they're the one team that sort of tries to play football against us. They don't sort of play these nasty Mourinho tactics against us. Wenger actually tries to play football against us. And we all know that any team that tries to play football against us is just, it's a death wish, isn't it? So I knew we were going to blitz them. There was, as you guys say, when in the start of the second half, when Sanchez comes on, because Sanchez comes on at half time, they sort of have a good 20 minutes where they sort of, push us back a little bit. But the work, we've done most of the work, and then we regroup and go and score another brilliant goal on the break, don't we? It's that Lallana lovely turn on the goal in the centre, releasing out to Origi, is it?
Yeah.
And then and then Origi sort of squares out. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I really enjoy playing Arsenal at Anfield. You know that. I really do. I look forward to it. It's one of my games that I really look forward to. I'm just so confident against them. I don't know. I can't explain it.
I'm like that with Spurs, Grizz, for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I never used to be. They used to be a bit of a bogey team.
Who, Arsenal?
Is this the game where Coutinho has his first decent game as well? In like 7 weeks since he come back from his injury. I seem to remember this being the first game where he really started to take control and really done what we know he's capable of doing, but he'd gone through that shaky patch. But
again, Rich, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's Wenger. It's typical Wenger, where he just has no clue or idea, or he has no intention of stopping other teams' danger men. And, most teams would sort of make sure Coutinho is blocked off every angle and there's no space given, where you're right, Coutinho had an absolute field day. It was just the kind of game where sort of, give it to Coutinho so he can get back into form type thing.
And we went third.
Yeah,
we went third after that.
Yeah, we did. We go third, and it dumps Arsenal out of the top four and puts them down to fifth, which
remind me again, Rich, did Arsenal make the top four at the end of the season?
Hang on, let me just check. No, funnily enough, they didn't, which is really amusing.
That's a shame.
And also, Arsenal had 7 shots to our 18.
Fucking hell.
And they had 3 shots on target to our 7. We had 9 corners to their 3.
An interesting thing I only noticed lately from a few bets I did is, do you know what the average amount of corners in the game is?
Oh, shit.
I'd probably say 3.
No.
It's between 8 and 11.
About 7?
8 to 11, apparently.
Oh, well, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I never really thought about that before, and I was just looking at it one day thinking, God, yeah. How many corners is there in a game of football? It's a really odd thing. And throw-ins was another one, and I don't know the answer to that, but it'd be interesting to know what the average amount of throw-ins in a game of football is. Right, lads.
I'd probably say 3.
Yeah, you're probably spot on there again with 3.
Go on, Craig. Let's push on to what I think was probably one of our best performances of the season.
Well, which one are we going with? We've got the 12th, we've got Burnley up first. To be fair,
I have to speak about Burnley.
Go on then.
The mighty Burnley, who had slayed us earlier on in the season.
Yeah, this for me showed a bit of the turnaround in the other side to our game. Again, I was lucky enough to be over it. We gave away a shitty goal, pretty much the first attack from Burnley, and we were absolutely septic in the first half. I mean, septic. Chan.
But what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Septic, like?
Brutal bad.
What are you trying to say?
We were terrible in the first half. Absolutely terrible. We couldn't.
Toxic.
Toxic, yeah. Sorry, that might be a dodgy West of Ireland saying. We were absolutely horrendous.
Would you go as far as to say septic?
I would indeed. Even of the tank material. No, joking aside, Chan. This was the game for me that changed a Chan's season and turnaround. He was absolutely abysmal in the first half. His touch was gone. Kept giving the ball away. I haven't seen a player abused as much in a long time.
Obviously, you haven't heard me at Mignolet.
Well, that he doesn't even count. He doesn't even count in on that right there. No, he's terrible. There was quite a funny moment in the first half. He'd gone down injured, and repeat, he'd been absolutely terrible all game, and everyone was cheering. Take him off, take him off. He's injured. There was a guy behind me, and I'll still remember it. Take that shit house off. Take that shit off. And Chan started coming up, and he was like, no, take him off. He's injured. He's shit. Take him off. And he was almost groaning as he was coming back up to the pitch. Genie gets the goal right before half time, and we turned around, and then Chan scores the winner in the second half, and that completely from then on his whole season changed.
Great shout, John. Great shout. I totally agree. Yeah, he strokes it in, doesn't he, a la Tony Cruz style from the edge of the box, sort of.
It was funny because the whole ground was shouting, "Don't shoot!" And then he's, "Oh, fair enough. There we go." And he sticks it in. It was just for me. It just showed that kind of grit that we showed in the second half of the season, which we hadn't really shown up to then. The other thing I remember for that game was Coutinho, although he'd been quite good against Arsenal in the game previously, he was absolutely terrible as well. And he, even at 1-1 when we were chasing the game, Klopp takes him off in 60 minutes and brings on Woodburn, which for me was kind of a sign of just how poor his form had been at the time.
In that game, Coutinho manages 2 successful passes in the first half into danger areas.
Wow.
Just 2. This was the game that after the game, Klopp turns round and says that it was the first game he's enjoyed winning ugly.
Yeah, I thought
and he was fine with that.
That was the point. I was very ramble on, but that was the point I was trying to make there. It showed that it's something that we hadn't proved all season. We won a game ugly. We weren't great, but we still got away with the points. And I think Klopp kind of changed his attitude then for the second half of the season.
Yeah, well, I think that game sort of. You're right. We actually adopted that sort of gritty style, getting the result above any sort of performance all the way till near the end of the season, didn't we? Until we actually went to West Ham and sort of went mad a bit. But the couple of months after that Burnley game, I think we really dug deep. And to me personally, it bodes really well. It showed that Klopp maybe maturing as a manager as well and as a coach. We always talk about his heavy metal football and he's got one style of play and it's sort of gung-ho and there's not much else to it. There's not much sort of defensive shape and solidity about his teams. But I think that period after the Burnley did show a sort of slight change in tactics as well, where we were a bit more pragmatic, let's say.
Well, that leads us nicely into March the 17th, and we rock up to the Etihad for what was billed as basically a very, very important game in the season, and it didn't let us down. It was a fantastic game. Rich, what's your memories of this one?
Oh, so many memories of this was for me the game of the season, and I know it was a 1-1 draw, but I think it was one of those where it's one of those rare occasions where you sit and watch a football match just end to end, just jaw-droppingly good. I think the referee was atrocious. If I remember right, this is the game where Yaya only gets a yellow for lunging through on Emre Can, where he should have seen a red, I think. It's the game where Milner scores. He scored from the penalty spot?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got Aguero ties it all up in the second half. But I think, to be fair, it was one of those games where I think we probably should have and could have gone on to win it quite easily. It's the game where at the end, Guardiola comes out with this great big speech about, how wonderfully proud he is of his team and what an amazing advert it was for football, and Jurgen's brimming with joy as well. It was just an amazing game. And I mean, the sides were just so evenly matched. Even when you look at the stats, I mean, 60-40 possession to City, which is rare against Liverpool for someone to have more possession. But it was 13 shots for both sides. They had 3 on target. We had 4 on target, 9 corners to them. We had 8. It was just such an evenly balanced game. And I think it was just one of those games where at the end of it, you kind of looked at it and went, that was a good game. And it doesn't feel like I've been sat here for 90 minutes watching it, because it absolutely flew by.
Yeah, so I was right then about my analysis that was the game, that the Burnley game was where we started playing defensively. Oh, boy. So we went to City and sort of both teams ripped into each other, tore each other to bits. It was one of those games where we sort of appreciate how lucky we are to have managers like Klopp and Pep, and how much we hate Mourinho. You know, it showed that how beautiful football could be without Jose Mourinho involved. That was my memory of it. 2 teams, 2 managers that want to play the right way, gung-ho, going for each other's throats. No snide digs. Did you see the attitude between them, the respect, the mutual respect before and after the game? It was just, as Rich says, we could probably have a whole pod on that game alone.
I think just the phrase that you came out with there, how beautiful football can be when there's no Jose Mourinho involed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. That was like for the, I'm a bit of a football purist, but that game was just an amazing, enthralling game of just complete and utter up and down attack versus defend. It was just a great game too. I can only imagine watching that as a neutral. It must have been amazing to watch. The other thing from that game, that as good as the game was, that sticks in my mind, is that Lallana miss.
Yeah, from Firmino's cross on it should have been.
Firmino's had the same miss for City. Was it Sterling?
Sterling, yeah. They had a.
But they say James Milner sort of absolutely clattered him from behind, so it wasn't a miss as such. Yeah.
There was a couple of those moments, but for me, just Bobby plays the ball square, and I think he actually, if I remember correctly, he kind of slides away and almost in celebration. Yes, and then Lallana just shanks it, and I'm like, oh my god! It
actually would have been probably one of the goals of the season. That move.
That'd be everyone's game of the season if we had nicked it. I think.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this game wasn't it not described that this was both defenses were really crap. But it was a question of whose defense was just about going to hang on against 2 awesome attacks.
That's right.
Yeah. When you looked at the attacking lineups for both sides, I think we were all petrified of De Bruyne and just what he was going to do. And you'd got Sterling, and obviously you'd got Aguero, and it was just one of those. It was literally whose attack was going to be the best. And who was going to hold up. We'd got Klein, Matip, Klavan and Milner in defence. They'd got Fernandinho, Stones, Otamendi and Clichy. And up front, we'd got Coutinho, Firmino, Mane, and they'd got Aguero. Sane played in that game. I think he did really well, didn't he?
And he's been a quality addition for Man City, to be fair.
Yeah, when you look at the lineup, when you take the defence out of it, so Lallana, Chan, Wijnaldum, Mane, Firmino, Coutinho, and we brought on Origi and Lucas. And they'd got Aguero, Sane, Silva, De Bruyne, Sterling and Yaya.
Great, and let's not forget, we had James Milner as left back, and they've got all these top-notch players that 100% decided to take that route as a weak link, and it's not like they really opened us up, is it? Well, they did open us up, but it was 1-1 sort of thing. So,
lads,
we didn't even have a left back.
I have to push us along because we're running low on time. But Ben, I'm going to stay with you. And fittingly, on April Fool's Day, it was the derby, and Everton rocked up to Anfield thinking that they had a sniff, and they certainly did not. Young Benjamin.
No, they didn't. We thrashed them, didn't we? It was like, what was it? Let's have a look. It was 8 minutes before Mane scored that goal. So we crushed them straight away. Then Coutinho, then Origi. Oh, then I did remember. The young lad, didn't he? Got the goal back, didn't he? The ball just... That was one of them things, wasn't it? Where every time they get a set piece, the second ball always seemed to fall to one of the opposition players. But that young lad scored, didn't he? But that was just... We was all sort of thinking fair play to young lad for getting the goal in the derby.
There was no... Even though Pennington got the equaliser, Jonathan, I don't really feel that there was ever any worry or any doubt that we were going to go on and win the game.
No, that's one of my favourite moments of the season. I was stood in the Cop there for that game, and it was just probably the best atmosphere I've been at the season. Just emotionally wrecked afterward. It was just a crazy game. Yeah, never really in doubt. Even when they equalised, Coutinho stuck a worldie, then almost a couple of minutes later, and then Origi sticks the ball in front of the Cop then and gets his song. Remember we sang it on the afterpod at the time. I don't know if we can give it a bar now, but it was just an amazing day, and just
no, leave that.
Just to be...
Oh no, we got to bring it back. Da 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 dum dee 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 da dee da da da. Come on, Grizz.
I don't know the words.
He gets the ball and cuts inside and slaps it past the Blues. Divock Origi.
But you were all over this earlier on.
Yeah, I know, but you know,
he just pumped it down the middle, didn't he? Bang! He first time it went in.
But my memory of the day is just abusing the Everton fans all day. Like, I haven't won a trophy since 1995. We must have sang that 1,000 times over the course of the game. No, it was just a special day. We absolutely pumped them to shreds, and it was just amazing atmosphere. Just lucky to be there.
Well, it's weird games where they didn't have Romelu Lukaku playing for him in that game, did they?
Oh, he was there in body, and it was.
But his mind was over back in Chelsea.
It was a capsule.
It was one of the funniest chants I've heard. We'll move on then, but I have to say this. So that was after the time where he was having these kind of playing games with his agent or whatever, making a couple of statements, and towards the end, the game was wrapped up as 3-1, and the chant came from the Cop. Lukaku's right, you're fucking shite. It was just one of those amazing moments. It's just so funny.
Yeah, he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? He goes through patches, Lukaku, and then he disappears. We got to push on though, lads, and there's a lot in this month, but I think one of the most vital games of the season, and certainly a huge turning point, was the Stoke game. Rich, it's fair to say Klopp picked a very strange lineup for the first 11 there, and we did not show up in the first half at all.
The game that led to one of the favourite tweets of the year for me, where they put the Coutinho goal to the Titanic soundtrack, and we'll have to retweet it out on the ARW Twitter if no one's seen it. But it was just, this was the game where Phil and Bob were held back and came on in the second half.
Walter scored his usual goal against Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before half time, just to really kind of give us all complete heart failure and cue the grumping and moaning and everything else at half time. But yeah, it was, the second half was just an absolute masterclass, and it just showed, Phil and Bob are just such big players for us. Absolutely made the difference. They came on, we looked like a different side. Their legs were fresh. They absolutely took it to Stoke. And Bobby Firmino, take a bow, my friend, take a bow. What a hit that was to win the game. And I think this also cued the celebrations of Bobby Firmino has had the most yellow cards in European football for over-exuberant celebrations, which makes him perfect for Liverpool, because let's face it, Liverpool fans are all about over-exuberant celebrations, and his tossing of the shirt was just sublime.
Going on that, actually, does anybody remember after the game, I think it was Redmen TV did an interview with somebody, a Stoke fan, and he started blaming the flare on the reason why Liverpool scored their second goal, because nobody could see anything.
Yeah, he weren't even joking, was he?
No, he was deadly serious.
It was just comedy goal, that was. Yeah, the flare, you've let yourself down. Oh man, it was just...
you've let yourself go.
But yeah, no, we spoke about, Rich just mentioned there Bobby's yellow cards, but if ever a goal deserved ripping off your shirt, that was it. And I remember at the time as well, the the jersey landed perfectly on the ground with his name popped up in the air. There was some very good gifts and stuff flying around afterwards.
I think that's what Moreno. I think that's what Moreno tried with the bottle, didn't he? Later on as well. I think that's what he was inspired with that.
Yeah.
By that.
That's the last game I want to cover in April. Is a game that caused a lot of emotion actually, because Fat Sam had the cheek to let Sacco sit there in his full tracksuit when they rocked up for the game. That Palace game was a tough game to watch, guys. Grizz, what's your memories of that game?
Sorry. Which game were we talking about? Sorry, I was away.
The Palace game where Sacco was sitting there in his full tracksuit and he starts playing patty cake with Benteke when he scores.
Well, I think the overriding memory was that, wasn't it? The game itself. It was kind of, again, just Palace hadn't won, or Palace sort of got an awful record at Anfield. Benteke's coming back. The script is written. Benteke's going to score against us. I hate playing Palace. I honestly do. I hate playing them at home. They sort of just tend to raise their game against us, beyond any level. I mean, they've been pants before that, and they rock up to Anfield and they actually played. Give them credit. They actually attacked us from the start. And just to really, really, really rub our noses in it. Sacco does that stupid thing right in front of the coaches and the fans. Benteke, I said at the time, good luck to Benteke. Benteke never said a bad word about us. Benteke, tried his best, but unfortunately, wrong man at the wrong time, wrong player at the wrong time. Moved on, still didn't say a bad thing about us. But Sacco, still contracted to us, and to celebrate in that sort of stupid manner right in front of the coaches was the fine. I think if there was any sort of Sacco support, I think it finished that. It ended that day.
Rich, you wanted to come in?
Yeah. How many shots do you think we had on target in that game?
2.
I go for the Ben answer of 3.
Oh, he got in there before me.
Would that be none, Rich?
No, because we scored.
Yeah, Coutinho scored, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the only shot on target.
Jeez.
We had 14 shots, and that was the only one.
My
there was the Coutinho free
and that's at home. And that's
my other abiding memory of that game, Ben, was Sam's interview afterwards, where he basically started making himself out to be a tactical genius, that they targeted everything. They had us sussed out.
Yeah,
the morning headlines. The morning headlines were the worst. Yeah, where he's actually come out and said he's sort of sussed us out how to play against us. That was awful feeling. It was one of the worst feelings of the season for me after that Palace game in the morning.
It's typical
72% possession.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it weird? Weren't there some weird stat before that? Sam Allardyce's team has never won at Anfield. I'm sure that was.
Yeah,
as I said.
Before the game.
No, I told you. Yeah, I told you that we broke other people's voodoos and all kinds of records in that period. People that have never beaten us before.
It's just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you fat cunt, you've never beaten us before, and now you're suddenly saying that you're a tactical genius. You know how to play against them. Get the fuck in the bin. And fuck Sam Allardyce as well.
Now, you do know Tino's going to be very upset with you. He's a huge Sam Allardyce fan.
And what's that young lad he rates highly, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
That whole Mbappe.
Mbappe's going to be playing League One football in 2 years, according to our good friend Tino.
With Sam Allardyce as his manager.
That's it, lads.
Yeah. Probably score a fucking weldy against us.
We're going to move on into May, and it's fair to say everything was in the balance going into this last month of the season, and the pressure was really on, and we weren't at our brilliant best, but we had battled through and we'd muddled through, and we came to Watford, and there can only be one memory of this game. Who wants to come in on it? Who wants to talk us through it? Don't know, rush, lads.
I'd like to.
Was it the Mignolet save?
No, the Emre Can goal.
He was just trying to wind you up, Ben. Rich knows. Go on, Ben. Talk us through. And Rich, there better be Titanic music somewhere to this goal.
Yeah, there is. I've seen the video. I've seen it on Twitter. I think there is to every goal now. Everyone's trying to punt it out, aren't they? But that goal, oh my God. When the ball went into him, I sort of thought, I wasn't really expecting a shot. I was sort of hoping he was perhaps going to knock it down for someone else. And then he just, God knows. All I sort of remember is just this crazy goal happening and just going mental, and even seeing the Watford fans clap it. It was that good a goal.
Well, I think
was
it's
just
fair to
someone
say
else.
that the goal was all about the setup from Lucas.
You mean the ball that was played behind him, that Chan who's running forward has to stall his momentum and swing back and to do a crazy bicycle kick?
Yeah, that's the one, Jonathan.
Method.
That ball,
method in the foot. Lucas set him up for the goal of the season because it had to be an awkward ball to give him that beautiful chance to not only... Even his hair didn't move, did it?
Wasn't that a golden period for Lucas, Craig, where he kind of got 2-3 assists sort of in a row or type thing?
Lucas has had a 10-year golden period, Grizz.
Oh, fuck off.
Golden century. Golden.
Yeah, no, like it was one of those goals where like I'm emotional at the best of times at football games, but that's just one where you're to scream your head off as a kid and like, wow, is that actually just after happening?
Yeah.
There was one guy in the crowd, a Watford guy, that his photo did the rounds there. His jaws open, his hands are up, he's up to his face, and just disbelief. That summed it up for me.
Rich, I think it's fair to say that the day after that, Emre Can's agent was bursting into Melwood trying to get to Klopp to talk about contract negotiations.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad goal, was it?
It's all right.
Right, not bad. Yeah, it was a good effort.
Wasn't too bad.
Could have done it a few more times throughout the season, would have been nice.
Listen, Peter Crouch has done that before. Come on.
That was Emre Can's fourth goal of the season.
Yeah, but
I still think his agent...
His hair never moved on any of them.
His agent definitely walked into Millwood like the old Conor McGregor walked, didn't he? Waving them arms about.
He walked into Klopp's office, whipped the balls out and dropped them on the table.
His ball. Yeah, exactly.
And even while they trained, he was probably on the fence doing the old Conor McGregor with the money.
Yeah, but isn't it worrying? We say all that, his agent, and he, took his balls out on the table and walked into his office and pulled it, but he hasn't. It didn't work. He hasn't signed that contract or...
It's not about
something.
Money.
It's something still.
It's not
right,
money.
Not quite right there. No, I don't think it's money at all.
It's about starting. Has he got a spot or not?
It's absolutely. He feels. The rumor is, right in the Cano. The rumor is that he's actually slightly peed off with the club with regards to sort of he gets in there where everyone's out of form or injured. He actually wants to know because you got to remember World Cup year coming up. He actually wants to sort of know if he's sort of a definite starter. And I don't think Klopp's ready to give him that.
I think, look, you talked about ITK stuff there. Look, the real reason is he's not happy not being the face of Nivea. And when he sees Martin Skirtle before him and Adam Lallana and James Milner being stomped on by dinosaurs, I think it's fair to say Emre Can wants to be the face of Nivea products, and that's the real issue here. Rich, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, my problem with this whole thing with Emre Can, and I'm sorry, as wonderful a goal as it was, as great a second half of the season that he's had, do you know what? If you're worried about the competition in the team, then you need to move on, sunshine, and take your goals with you, because the bottom line with this is that if you're not prepared to, every player on that pitch and in that team should be worrying about their position and should be absolutely busting it to get themselves on that pitch and playing. And, if he's worried about playing time, I'm sorry, but there's no free rides at Liverpool Football Club, and you've got to be better than the other guys on the training pitch and putting it out there and proving it. And, I think Klopp's been pretty fair with him. And, he's been saying that he's been playing with an injury, and fair enough. So, put your money where your mouth is, sunshine. Turn up on the training ground, put your effort in, and we'll see where you are. And if you're playing on a Saturday at 3:00, happy days.
Thanks to Rich.
Do you know what I think?
Thanks to Rich. Now he's going to be at Juventus next season, isn't he? Rich, you've
I was just going to say before we get absolute pelters, about that. It is just rumors that there may be other reasons. So, I don't want to say that is the reason. There may be other reasons that we don't know about. But I agree with Rich. If it's that reason, then Klopp's totally within his right not to sort of, commit to it or sort of say, look, you are guaranteed a place. Because you're right. There's no one, absolutely no one in that team should be guaranteed a place. And that's what we want. We want healthy competition in every single position and every player being up for the fight. But
do we not think that?
Saying that, I do really, really hope he stays because, he is an asset.
I hope he stays. But do we not think that's just young footballers today that sort of they get a bit of superstardom and already sort of think they're number one, and perhaps think I should be the number one starter at this club, or old moves? Or is that a bit prima donna? Do we think it's that maybe with him?
Well,
Not that I want him to move. I want him to stay 100%.
What I'd say on that, Ben, is the other side of that argument isn't it sort of nice that a player's not concerned about money and he's more concerned about his place in the team than...
True, yeah, true. If it's true.
Taking a wage. Yeah, no, none of us know if it's true. It's absolutely all conjecture. Yeah. But Jonathan, you look like you want to say something?
Yeah, no, again, I don't know how true, but I've just read online a couple of times that his main gripe is that he wants to be as the defensive midfielder, and that's the role that he sees himself in because he doesn't think his body's able to do the box-to-box role.
Yep. I think that's crazy.
Well,
that's
for
kind
me,
of worrying in itself that he doesn't feel his body's sort of ready.
Well, I think he prefers to be in the deeper line midfielder. For me, he's more effective as box-to-box. I suppose we could talk about another day about it. For me, he's too slow on possession to play as the deep line midfielder. I much prefer to him in a box-to-box role. I think that's his most effective role. But as I said, hopefully they blows the competition next season. Anyways.
To me, if Henderson's fit, I have Henderson in ahead of Emre Can every day of the week, and I know I'm going to get slaughtered for that on Twitter after this. But for me,
no, I don't know.
For me,
no, I totally agree.
Henderson can control the tempo of a game a lot better than Emre Can can.
Agreed, absolutely agreed. Can takes too many touches, and that's especially against smaller teams where they have a deep line defense. It's all about getting the ball moving quickly and get on attack to pick them open.
But let's be honest, if we can keep him, the day that we can have a meaningful argument about who starts in every position on the whole pitch is the day that we'll probably be in line for a Premier League.
Right, lads, we got to push on. There's 3 games to go. I want to really, really quickly go over this Southampton game because there's only one thing I want to bring up, and that's James Milner missing the penalty and why nobody went up and punched the head off Fraser Foster for standing over James Milner at that penalty, kicking up the penalty spot. I mean, I was waiting for somebody to come in with an RKO or something because this was just ridiculous, Rich.
Yeah, no, it was one of the maddest things I've ever seen, and this is the game where Jimmy comes out at the end and apologises to the fans and says it's his fault. I don't really buy into that at all. I think it was just one of those things. I think the interesting thing for me on this was Southampton had exactly 0 shots on target for the entire game. They just sat right back, 65% possession for us. We had 17 shots, 8 on target. They had 4 shots all game and didn't get 1 on target. Yet they had 6 corners. Which maybe says something about our defence as well.
You know what pissed me off most about Southampton there, Rich? They go to Arsenal soon after this and they go and they play an expansive game and they get slaughtered.
Yep.
Really
Absolutely.
Frustrated me. Right, lads, we move on then.
Move on.
To Grizz, I'm going to bring you in on this because it's your neck of the woods, buddy. We went down to the Olympic Stadium or whatever it's called these days down at West Ham and took them apart.
Yeah, I think Klopp sort of totally reverted back to sort of the start of the season Klopp in terms of selection, in terms of mentality, in terms of game plan, and he absolutely worked a treat. Look, West Ham didn't have their best team out, but we were under immense pressure. Do you remember, guys, how much pressure we were from the previous week, and sort of everyone was pretty nervous, West Ham away. Well, I know it's the first time we've played that, but the fixture in itself, West Ham away is generally a dodgy, tricky fixture for us. But we rocked up at that stadium, and I think we saw, not glimpses, I think we got a full show of the Coutinho sort of that we're expecting for, fingers crossed, many years to come in this number 8 role, where he absolutely put on a show. Sturridge was electric. The team selection, tactics, as I said, everything was spot on. It was really, really, really impressive, that game.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I think it's worth noting as well, that week before the West Ham game I've never seen such doom and gloom amongst Liverpool fans on Twitter all week. It was like the end of the world. It was reach for the razor sort of time.
Oh, we'd ruined our chances apparently. Yeah.
It was such negativity. There was an immense pressure on the players. I won't lie, I was shitting myself coming up to that game myself as well. But it was just a joy to watch. We opened up, as you said, Grizz. It showed glimpses of the future of Coutinho in the deep line midfield, in deep line position, pinging balls through, and it was just one of the most enjoyable games after that, considering the doom and gloom. And then I think nobody really worried going into the Middlesbrough game after that form we showed against West Ham.
Yeah, and that leads us on nicely to the last game of the season, and it all came down to this game. We could have finished third, we could have finished fifth, fourth. We were looking at City results. Arsenal had put together a great run, and if we slipped up, Arsenal could have overtaken us. And I think actually every single one of us on this pod went to that game.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a Wolves reunion. Yeah, we were the reason why we qualified for the Champions League.
Well, I didn't want to say
I'm very grateful to those who managed to help me out on that one, and they know who they are. So thank you very much for that. It was a boss day.
Lads,
Sam, yeah, I've got to give a special shout to Southampton.
We could talk about this game all day because it was glorious. Everything went perfect for us. I mean, with the result, but that first half, it was nervy.
It was. I won't lie, wasn't looking great, was it? The huge emotion and positive feelings were wiped away. We started the game decently, fell apart in towards the mid half of the first half, and then thankfully Genie, himself and Ben were just behind the goal there in the Kop, and Genie kind of smashed one in front of us and went wild. I think the whole stadium was just, I've never seen such an unveiling of just raw emotion and relief after that goal. The place went nuts.
I was a bit disappointed. They scored the goal, as you said, and I turned around to hug my mate Ken, who was at the game with me, but he'd fucked off on 42 minutes for a point because of that dismal first half, and I had to make do. I had to look over and I spotted Rich celebrating just not too far away from me on the Kop, and Rich, that was a huge relief, that goal.
Oh, my abiding memory of that game, and I'm not one for cursing a lot on podcasts, but I had a lad who was 2 rows behind me who literally gave a running commentary throughout the entire game. And all you could hear in this really rough Scouse accent was, go ahead, lad, fuck off you, all the way through. Every time they had the ball, they was basically barking at them to fuck off throughout the whole game. And then when that goal goes in, the whole place just erupted. And I mean, the Kop went nuts. I thought the atmosphere, by the way, that game was absolutely brilliant. The Kop was singing right the way through. The old songs started coming out in the second half as well, which I thought was really, really nice. I think there was Luis Garcia got a couple of songs in there as well. It was just an amazing game, wasn't it? Just a great time. And knowing that you were just over to my right in the Kop as well, and I looked over to you a couple of times throughout the game, and it was, what a game, what a day, what a team, what an opportunity.
Is there anybody, Ben, Grizz, anything you want to add before we finish up, move on?
It was just the best day of the best atmosphere. A great end to an up and down Premier League.
Ben, you got to meet Phil Babb.
I got to meet Phil Babb and have a selfie. Just on top of all this.
I was just happy to meet you guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know,
it was
yeah, definitely. You know, me and Jonathan went for a rendezvous away from everyone. Loved it. Atmosphere wise, I'm gonna have to sort of put a bit of a spoiler in there. Atmosphere wasn't brilliant until sort of like it wasn't only.
Was you in the second Kop?
No, I was in the Centenary.
No,
the atmosphere. Look, the atmosphere was when we scored. And that 20 minutes after second half, that was atmosphere. That's how it should have been for the old 90 minutes. I mean, the purpose of being in that stadium for that game, we should have been, regardless of what the situation was, we should have been pumping them on. But anyway, we got there in the end.
Yeah. I have to side with Rich, and the Kop was bouncing for the entire game.
Absolutely banging.
I actually lost my voice that day, and nearly re-crippled myself after that Genie goal. It was the best.
Right, that pretty much concludes the season review, lads. We got where we wanted to. We got Champions League football. We quickly move on through the pod. We have a couple more things to do, but I have a couple of plugs to get in first. I don't usually do them, but I have to. Our friends of 5 Times are bringing Sammy Hippier and Jersey Dudek over to Ireland this month. The lads will be in the Tivoli Theatre in Dublin on the 22nd of June and the Limelight Belfast on June 23rd. I've been to a fair few of these 5 Times shows, and I got to say, the lads put on an amazing night. great fun singing with the lads, some great stories. You can get your tickets at 5times.co.uk. There's standard tickets and there's meet and greet tickets where you get to meet the players, get a photo, get a couple of things signed. If you're around Dublin or Belfast on those nights, I highly recommend checking them out because they're fantastic. We've also launched a brand new YouTube channel called ARW Now. We'll be posting lots of video content on there, as well as some of our future podcasts. In fact, all our future podcasts will be on there. One exciting feature that we thought of for the ARW Now channel is we have a chance to give Reds all over the world a chance to air their views on the club and their opinions. And the way we're going to do this is we ask guys to send us a 5 to 8 minute video, and these videos can be about any topic they want related to the club. We'll then upload it onto the site. They can share their views with the world, and hopefully we can bring Reds together and let them share their views. Right, that pretty much finishes the plug, lads, and we'll move on to the final couple of topics. And one thing that happened this week was the guys at New Balance, it's a bit hit and miss, but they released the new away shirt, and personally I'm not a fan, but I can understand why people like it. And there was one topic. There's one topic that, Rich, that myself and yourself had a bit of trouble with, and I'll let you explain something we just wanted to, an issue we wanted to raise.
Yeah, so as we know, a lot of the people that listen to our podcasts are overseas, and one of our team, we decided to treat and sort out with an away with one of the new home kits, which we ordered to ship out. So I had a look online to see what the prices were for purchasing it in South Africa, which was where the shirt needed to go to. Prices absolutely outrageous. So I went onto the Liverpool football site and had a look on there. I ordered the shirt online. We had all chipped in on it, which was a massively kind gesture from everyone who's part of the ARW, and I think it proves what a tight-knit family we truly are. So we all chipped in. I placed the order. And there's a little line at the bottom where once you click to send it to another country, it does state that you will be liable for any taxes that may be charged by that country, which is absolutely fine. I don't think any of us would be remotely bothered by that. I certainly wasn't. Clicked on the button to send it away. I subsequently received an email through from DHL South Africa, which said that they were holding the shirt, that it's currently sitting in their warehouse, waiting for delivery, and if it wasn't, the import taxes weren't paid within 7 days, then it gets sent to the South African government holding warehouse, where they will then start to charge interest for storing it. Why am I bitching about this? The price that they want to pay for the tax and duty is 875 rand, which roughly translated into English cash is about 56 quid. The shirt cost 70 quid.
I think, Rich, I mean, if it was 10 quid, 12 quid, we'd understand that.
Absolutely. 10 or 12 quid, I don't think anybody's bothered about it. I'm certainly not bothered about it. I was quite happy with that. Didn't have a problem with it at all. They're not having it whatsoever. Now, we spoke to the recipient. She's very kindly got on the phone. She's been talking away to the guys over there. They're basically turning around and saying that when Liverpool Football Club ship these out, they have to send it out as merchandise. So therefore, South African customs treat it as if I am Liverpool Football Club, with allegedly £200 million to spend on transfer fees.
War chest.
So therefore, they think it's quite justified to charge us 56 quid in taxes. I've spoken to Liverpool Football Club. They've turned around and said legally they have to do it this way. They don't have a choice. They can't help. If it was sent personally as a gift, it wouldn't have cost a penny. So the lesson to everybody out there is, if you know someone in the UK who's going to purchase you the kit, who's then going to ship it over, do not use Liverpool Football Club as your courier. Don't do it. If we'd have had the shirt shipped through to me, I'd have put it in a jiffy bag, put it under a plain envelope, sent out the customs documents, marked it as a gift, not merchandise. I wouldn't have had to pay any taxes. As it is, this evening, I have just made that payment to DHL Customs because there's no other way of getting the shirt back. Liverpool Football Club aren't going to do anything at all. They've said they're doing exactly what they state, and because it clearly states on the website that we would be liable for any taxes. They've covered their arse and they're happy with it. So I wanted to bring it up just purely to make everybody aware. It's absolute bullshit if ever I've heard it. It's a ridiculous setup. And all I can say is thanks to everybody again at ARW who's chipped in to help us out to pay the fees to cover the customs charges. I'm sorry to you guys that you've had to do it. I'm gutted that we're all having to chip in. But I guess it goes to show what we are as a family and what ARW means. And it's all about being there for everybody and fair play to everyone involved. And I know I think most people in this pod have been involved in it. So thanks, guys. But a warning to all the other Reds out there.
I think it's fair to say the buying the shirt and everybody shipping in was absolutely no problem. But when it gets to the stage where sending the shirt over to South Africa is costing, give or take a few quid, £140. I mean, I think it would annoy anybody, Rich, to be fair. And
the thing is, it's not going to Liverpool Football Club. This is going straight into South African government's pocket. It's going straight into the pockets of DHL. Maybe it's because they sponsor Man United. Maybe that's why we got shafted on it. But, whatever way you look at it, it's just bang out of order. And, I'm going to be writing to Liverpool Football Club. I've made it quite clear that I think it's wrong that on their website it turns around and says you may be liable. If it was a tenner, fine, I'm happy. I'll quite happily cough up a tenner. To turn around and say it's almost as much as the shirt again, I think they need to make it clearer on their website. I think it needs to clearly state that the charges that you may well receive will be over 50 quid.
For me, Rich, the thing from our conversations that really got to me about this wasn't really so much the thing on the website. It was when you contacted the club asking them for just a note or an email to say that this was a gift or that you had purchased this yourself and Nats hadn't bought it to send over. And they were just unwilling to help in any way, shape or form.
We've sent them the copy of the invoice. We've sent them the sales order that came through from Liverpool Football Club that clearly shows my address details and everything else. We've sent everything over. They ain't interested. At the end of the day, they've got the shirt. It's sitting in their warehouse. They're doing absolutely nothing about it, and they're just sitting on their backside. So we've paid the money. They will release it. We've learned the lesson. Anything else that we ship out from the UK, it will be delivered to us here in the UK. We'll ship it out ourselves. We'll do the custom documents ourselves. But yeah, just don't fall into that trap, guys. Genuinely don't. Get it shipped to yourself and do it yourself.
Coming back to the away kit, lads. Anybody a fan of the away kit?
Yeah.
I actually am.
I kind of hated it when I first, the first glimpse of it. I've since then changed my mind. I've since then actually seen it live and close up, and I think it's okay, It's not as bad. I'm not a fan of the. I guess now I've realised why we came out with the orange one. I mean, it was obviously to make Virgil feel at home, right?
We're not mentioning that. Don't mention the war.
No, not talking about it.
But the other kit, what colour is it? How do you describe it?
I'm calling somebody. I think Chris Balmer, I think is the guy off Twitter, described it lovely as the Laura Ashley 97-98 summer collection.
Yeah. It's a lovely pastel green, isn't it?
Pastel green, that's it, Rich. Yeah, pastel green, because it doesn't look. It in real life it looks really. I think I can go with that. It's actually not too bad. Credit to New Balance. I did think after the beautiful, beautiful home kit that they've created, I thought they've really cocked this one up. But credit to them, it's not as bad as I first initially thought. So I'm okay with it.
Ben, what's your views?
To start with, I sort of, I don't know why I had my heart set on like having a nice grey away top. So I was sort of hoping that the leaked photos, that I'm pretty sure the ARW big account actually leaked first with that and the orange top. I'm pretty sure that came out first before anyone else. But I weren't convinced. I thought, maybe it's like a mock-up thing. And then I was sort of like, I don't know, not too sure. But since then, I've seen it in the flesh as well, and it is a lovely top. Once you see it in the flesh, I sort of just change your mind on it a bit.
I'll tell you my biggest problem with it is it's supposed to be, I suppose, modelled on the 96 shirt, the 96 green and white checkerboard shirt.
Yeah.
Rich is shaking his head, but to me, that's what it's modelled on. And to me, that's
on the website they were saying it was going back to one of the original first kits that we had.
I just don't like the green, I think, is my issue with it. If they had gone for more a bottle green or a darker green, for me, it would have looked infinitely nicer.
What do you mean, Rich? The original, back to what kit?
They were going back to one of the original as a tribute to the 125 years. So it was a homage to the very first away kits that we had.
No, only Gavin was around there that time, so he's not
the 96, no.
Yeah, for me, it's just obviously they say what they say. Just when I looked at it, that's what it instantly reminded me of was that kit. Did anybody notice? Actually, Jonathan, I had a discussion with you about this today. The club have also released a limited edition away kit, which is actually a blue instead of a green stripe. Jonathan, did you see that earlier?
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I think that is what Rich is referring to there. I think that's in reference to the first away kit.
Yeah, you're right. This one is, the 95-96 chain shirt.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I looked. That was one of my favourite shirts of all time, by the way. That 95-96. And I know you like it, Rich, because it's your Twitter avatar.
Oh, love it. And this is definitely going to get purchased. And I definitely won't be paying any taxes on it either. I think the thing I like about this one is that it's one of those shirts that sometimes when you're out and about, you don't necessarily want to have the full-on red, but actually it's quite nice with just to have something that's a little bit more subtle. And for me, that works. It absolutely hits the button. I think it's nice. I love it.
Jonathan, going back to the limited edition kit.
The limited edition kit, I can see the sentiment behind it. Bit small-minded on my behalf. I just don't still like. I know it was one of the original colours, but for me, having blue on a kit is just a bit meh after our neighbours across the city. The original or the away kit, I'm mixed emotions about it. When I saw it first, I thought it was going to be great. It's grown on me, and I suppose look, it has a bit of green on it. The look of the Irish, so you never know. Next year could be your year.
Yeah,
this new home kit absolutely has Champions League winners and Premier League title winners all over it.
Yeah, it was one of the things out of the Middlesbrough game. How bossed did the whole team lined up in the whole kit? It just looked with the blood red back. It just looked $1 million. It really did.
What gets me about this limited edition kit is the £100 price tag. £100 sterling. Well, it comes in a box. You get a certificate with it. I think each one might be numbered, but to me, it's just another money grab that I wouldn't be happy with at £100.
No, I won't be spending £100 on it.
Definitely get your weight up, though.
Yeah.
Right, lads. We've talked the away kit. Let's move into the fun part of the show. I think we've got to say bye-bye to Rich at this point.
Yeah, I've got to chip off, so I'll leave you to talk zombies and everything else. Thanks a lot, guys.
Rich,
cheers, Rich.
Pleasure. We'll
cheers,
catch
Rich.
you soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, pal. Bye.
Love you.
Love
right,
you
guys.
too.
Moving into the fun part of the pod, the last questions. This week, the first question I have for you guys is, what thing bothers you that doesn't really bother most, we'll say, normal people, because we're all a bit fucked up in our own way. Has anybody got anything that wouldn't bother 99% of the population, but really gets on your nerves and winds you up?
I've got one that, but probably does, but probably a lot of other people ain't that fond of. But like when you pop out shopping or walking in the street or something, and you bump into someone you know, but you only sort of like partially know them, and you know them people that stand and they get so close to your face when they're talking, and even if you like sort of talking and trying to get a bit personal space, but they just are like in your face sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's your Lynx effect, Ben.
Well, what can you say?
Well, you've got Ben's animal magnetism that's just drawing people towards him, Grizz.
Do you know what I mean? That's natural.
I'm in my pants.
Effect.
I'm in my pants right now, guys. You all know.
We didn't want to know that. Yeah, we didn't want to know that. I have the opposite.
You've seen it.
But I have the total opposite effect. People that have known me for ages run away as soon as they see me. So like totally the opposite of Ben. But nah, do you know what? Today as I was thinking about this today, I was at a crossroads, and I was just trying to get from a minor road to a major road. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to give you I'm pretending I'm your driving instructor all over again. So I'm on a minor road trying to get into a major road, and the traffic is. I'm trying to turn right, and the traffic's moving real slow. Okay, I don't know about you guys. I know Craig's in Ireland, and so is John. And bloody, there's no cars in Norfolk, is there, Ben? But there's loads of traffic here, right? So there's cars moving real slow. Steam trains aren't fair enough, right? So I'm trying to turn right onto a major road, and there's this bus driver, right? And he's got loads of leeway. He can give me space, right? But he refuses to look at me even. And do you know one of them where there's sort of robots sitting in their buses, and he hasn't gone past me. He's just blocked me in the middle of the route.
Ignorant.
So I've basically stopped the other traffic from flowing, right? And there's someone behind me now as well. So I'm getting shouted at from this side, right? And he could have easily given me way, but he's refused to even look at me. That winds me up chronic. I just about got out of the car to sort of ask him kind of what time, he's finishing, right, work, when he drove on. And I didn't get a chance to ask him that question. But that really, really fucking winds me up.
So even he ran away from you?
Yeah, road manners. That really, really winds me up. Etiquette. Just, I was ready to say thanks. I was ready to blow him a kiss, wave, thank you so much, because I'm a polite guy like that. But ignorance, when you just sort of think you own the road just because you're driving one of those London buses. Oh,
I agree with that, mate.
I'm a bit more normal, I suppose, on most things, but this I'm completely abnormal in. What pisses me off more than anything else in the world is unnecessary noise. And by this I could mean anything. One particular thing in my house, and this is going to sound horrendous, but when any of my kids cry for no fucking reason, that goes through my head. Like, I mean, if you're crying in my house, you better come in with a bleeding knee or a broken arm or blood coming out of your nose or something. If you're coming in crying for no fucking reason...
Savage. You're a savage. You're savage, Greg. You're a savage, man. Come on, kids, cry.
Have a scream.
Oh, yes.
I'm on 1% battery, I'll cry.
It just does my head in, and people chewing loud or people breathing loudly. Or do you remember there's an episode of The Simpsons, I think, where Homer is sitting in the church and he's breathing through his nose, and Flanders loses his shit.
And it keeps zooming in, and his little nose going.
Yeah,
I feel like that at times. It can really get on my tits, especially like if someone's eating some celery or like an apple right in your ear hole, and it's proper like.
Yeah.
I
hate that chewing one as well. You know, when someone's getting a picture taken, for example, if I'm taking a picture, just say someone stops me and says, "I'll take a picture, my friend," like, gives me the phone. And if I'm taking a picture, right, what right, this is weird actually, what right have I got to be pissed off about someone chewing, right? It's their picture, they can do what they want, right? But if I'm taking the picture, you better fucking stop chewing. Why the fuck are you chewing, right? That's weird, because like, it's their picture, it's their phone. I'm supposed to do what they want, but that fucking winds me up. Stop chewing. Stop chewing. Otherwise, I'm not taking a fucking picture of you.
Chewing.
It's true.
Drop your fucking camera.
I will. I'll fucking drop your phone. Stop chewing. But yeah, that's a weird one, I guess. Yeah. Sorry, you just reminded me now. I've got loads now. Fucking the weirdness is coming out now. The weirdness is about to flow. So you better end this pod, because people are gonna think I'm a fucking right weirdo. Well, they already
I've just
do.
realised. You know what I said about people that get really close when they talk to you that I'm not fond of? I've just realised you said everyone runs away. You must be that guy.
I must be that guy. Oh, one more, last one from me.
Go on.
I hate when they fucking turn normal dishes, people, right? Normal, like sort of, right? For example, yesterday, right? The beautiful missus made me a lovely dish, right? And it was just a piece of fish, bit of mash, bit of whatever, right? And to me, it's like just fish, mash, curly fries, right? And coleslaw, right? I asked her, "What's this called, darling?" And she turned around and said, "It's salmon crotté or something." What the fuck is a salmon crotté? Can someone tell me? What?
In the pay, you got the nice little crisscrossy pastry.
Why do they name them such funny names?
They can charge more for them then, Grizz. The stupider the name, the more they can charge.
Honest to God, I went mental. I looked at her, I went, "Salmon? Am I eating salmon crotté?"
You've got the fucking cheek to tell me that I'm moaning at my kids for not crying properly, and your missus is handing you up fucking plates of salmon and you're screaming.
I love her for making it. It was beautiful when I had about 2 portions. But don't tell me it's called salmon crotte or whatever it's called.
El toad in the hole. Or...
Hold on, let me put him here. Let me find out what it was actually called.
It doesn't actually sound.
It is salmon on croûte. Salmon on croûte.
Doesn't go well with curly fries though, Ben. Like
that's the one, Ben. No. Ben. You're right. You got it. Salmon or croûte or whatever.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Did it have a bit of like the parsley sauce in that?
Oh, that's the one. Parsley. Salmon. Oh, my door just opened up. Sorry, guys. That was fucking poltergeist right there. My door as soon as you went salmon crotte, as you said it correctly, my door flew open. Fucking hell. Anyway,
I reckon a salmon has passed in your house.
Yeah,
I'm sensing a salmon called Gary in your past life.
I don't know, man. All I know is I had about 3 portions of it. Right?
Oh, fucking went up from 2 a minute ago.
I was fasting, lads. Come on.
Jonathan,
fair play, mate. Yeah.
Have you any weird habits, Jonathan, or anything that pisses you off?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are the standard ones. For me, it's really does my nuts in is heavy breathing, and people that kind of. They'll be sitting at their desk or whatever, and they might see a problem, and it's straight away it's this. Yes, they kind of talk and they express themselves through the breathe. That does my tits in.
That's the effect you have on people, Jonathan. That again, that's another one.
Yeah, they all go. You're that hot.
Yeah. That for me, when you ask someone a question and you just want a yes no answer, it's no, that really does my head in. Like that as well. I think you kind of touched on it, Grizz, as well. If you kind of let and driving, if you let someone out in front of her where they stop and let them reverse out of a parking spot or whatever, and they don't salute back or whatever, that really does my nuts in.
Oh, I nearly run them cunts off the road. I want to go right up their fucking back end.
Yeah,
and drive
straight away.
them.
I'll rear end them after that. I'm the nicest guy in the world, but if you don't salute back to me, that's it.
I hate that.
Does anybody have this thing in traffic where, Jonathan just said you're letting somebody out. So if you're at a busy intersection or something, that everybody lets out one person. I have that little thing in my head that, we all let one person go, then we go.
Yeah.
And everyone does one. And if there's always some cunt that lets the whole world go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're in a rush.
You normally think, right, one can go and that's your lot. And I've got one more, actually. When you go like Christmas shopping, I proper love Christmas. And
when do you go Christmas shopping, Ben? Like, do you go like near Christmas?
Fuck's sake. I normally go like early Feb. But
okay.
But there you go. I'm prepared. But I always go and think, yeah, I'm going to really enjoy this sort of thing. I love going Christmas shopping, and
what did you get me for this year then, Ben? You've done your Christmas shopping already. What have you got me?
He's got you a lovely salmon dish.
I've got you.
No, getting that same links you wear where people stand up close to you when they're talking to you.
I've got you some links, some salmon on croûte, a limited edition Liverpool top, and that's about it really for now. But I've still got plenty of time to back that up. So,
can I have a selection box?
Yeah, you might have to pay the customs yourself. That's the only thing.
From Norfolk, in fact.
Can I have a selection box as well, Ben?
We'll see what's in the old transfer kitty, but
actually, hang on, just while we're talking about Christmas, this does my head in. This whole shrinkflation,
what?
Shrinkflation bollocks. This shit,
like,
shrinkflation it's called. So basically,
what's shrinkflation?
You must have heard of shrinkflation. So basically, companies can only raise the price of a chocolate bar or a packet of crisps so much, or a tin of sweets. So what they've started doing now is they've realised people are noticing that the prices are going up and up and up. So they've started making stuff fucking smaller and charging the same price. And the biggest thing that I always notice this around is Christmas, when you go to buy your tin of Celebrations or your tin of Cadbury's Heroes, and you remember, or your tin of Roses even, and you go back and you remember, and they used to be big fucking tins that the whole family could eat, and they'd be there for weeks. And now they're these miserable little fucking attempts.
Yeah, but am I right? Someone back me on this, right? Because I'll look like a tit if someone don't back me on this, right? Packet of crisps, right? When we were growing up, were there far more crisps in a packet than there is now?
The thing about this, Grizz, is there's 2 things, right? If you go to the garage or the shop and buy a bag of crisps, say you buy a bag of, I don't know, what horrendous crisps you eat in England, Walkers or something, is it?
Yeah, Walkers.
So if you go buy a bag of those absolutely shite crisps, and You get them at home. I think they're usually maybe 38 grams, something like that. But if you buy a multi-pack from the supermarket, they're almost half the size for some reason.
No, but the actual volume in them, is that what you're saying? Is there less crisps in them?
If you buy a multi-pack of crisps from the supermarket,
now, honest to God,
25 grams in it, and that's why we're all getting to the stage where we're eating 2 bags of crisps.
That's the thing. You have to buy one of them extra big eat bags just to get a normal bag because the rest is air.
Exactly. It's gone ridiculous. Everything is getting smaller, and smaller, and they're cheapening up on the ingredients as well, especially Cadbury's. Cadbury's have...
What's it called? Shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation.
Shrink infatuation. Do you say?
Yeah, that's it, Ben. Shrink infatuation. Well, I fucking have it. I'm telling you, I have shrink infatuation because
I have, and thank God my missus has.
It does. I don't know if they've done this. I don't know if they've done this in the UK, but I actually rang up about this. It annoyed me so much. I drink an unhealthy amount of Diet Coke. I mean, a fucking...
I can imagine this phone call, sorry.
Unhealthy amount of Diet Coke. So, I noticed one day in the supermarket, I went to pick up a couple of bottles of Diet Coke. You know, the big 2-litre bottles?
Yeah.
But they weren't fucking 2-litre bottles anymore. They were 1.75-litre bottles. And I thought, whoa, I'm not having this. I am not having this shit.
Were they one of the funky ones that look like the little bottle you get out of the garage?
No.
Like
the sneaky bastards had kept the same look to the bottle and stuff. And I thought to myself...
But it's labelled 1.75 though, right?
Yeah, instead of a 2-litre bottle. They didn't make a big hullabaloo about it or anything. They tried to just sneak this shit in at 2-litre prices. So
right, give me that number. I
rang up Coca-Cola and I said, what the fuck do you think you're playing at? And do you know what absolute horseshit excuse I got? You ready for this one, lads? Because this was a fucking beauty, I have to say.
Drum roll.
It was because of customer demand. Customers didn't want all that extra 2 litres of Coke. They didn't want the hassle of having that big a bottle. That's the shit that I had to put up with on the phone.
But you can buy a milk bottle that's like a gas fucking bottle. You can barely tip up to get in your milk without getting it all over the worktop.
So apparently their survey of their customers
That's you, Ben.
That's me. That's the shrink inflation in Norfolk, you see.
You know,
everyone's shrinking.
So apparently the customer said, you know what, paying £2 for a 2-litre bottle of Coke is too much Coke. I mean, I should only be getting 1.75 litres for that £2.
Don't change the bottle, just the Coke.
And do you know what really pissed me off? Like, I won't drink anything else because I'm a fucking weirdo and they have me by the balls. But every other company are still 2 litres. Like, I don't know what it's like in the UK or if you guys haven't noticed or if you've checked the bottles, but I'm fucking...
No, we have 1.5 litre bottles.
Yeah, see, we've got 1.25 and 1.75 now. We used to have 2. Yeah, we used to have 2 litre and 1.5 litre.
Yeah. Well, it's probably coming down here then as well, I suppose. Maybe 1.75. But listen, I'm backing you, Craig. The moment it fucking comes down to London, give me that number. I'm calling them as well.
I'm fucking telling him, starting Facebook pages and everything, Grizz. I'm marching. Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Can we talk about Toblerones here?
Oh, we've got to take this as far as we can. No, we're not talking chocolates again.
Do you know what?
Toblerone, they've done like a pyramid and then like a massive long line, then another one.
Yeah, shrinkflation. It's a fuck you, Toblerone, Ben. You know, the only Toblerone I'll eat is the big pervert Toblerone that you get in the duty free. You know that big...
Which you can only...
Ginormous Toblerones.
We got to get this hashtag shrinkflation. What?
Shrinkflation.
That's the one. We got to get this. We got to get this trending.
That's fucking ridiculous. Like, prices are going up. We're getting less. We're all having to eat 2 bars of chocolate or 2 bags of crisps, feeling like fat bastards. But if you go back 10 years ago, the bags were twice the size.
Exactly. Jamie Oliver's going to have to start a new campaign where people are going to get even worse, where they've got to eat double everything.
Yeah, that's it. It's getting crazy.
That's it. It is. It's getting out of hand. People are going to revolt in the end.
We had got another question on the agenda, lads, but we're after running way over on time, so I think we shall wrap it up there for this week. Huge thanks to Jonathan, Grizz, Ben, and we had Rich with us earlier for joining us. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you soon.